Hi friends, sometimes we're asked to find an equation of a line and we're given some information about parallel and perpendicular lines. So this is going to combine some things that we have talked about so far. That is the point slope equation of a line, the slope of a line, and finding an equation of a line given those information. All right, so let's talk about parallel and perpendicular. So if you have a parallel line, well, those are just lines that in geometry, we mark them with a little arrow thing through them to indicate that they're parallel. You might remember that from geometry. But the main thing about parallel lines is they go on the same distance away forever. In college algebra, what that means is they have the same slope. That's what will be important to us, is that parallel lines have the same slope. Now, when I write parallel, to tell you the truth, I get tired of writing the word parallel. So our symbol for that is just two lines next to each other that are roughly parallel. And of course, it's handwriting, so they're not going to be actually parallel. All right. Perpendicular lines, these are lines that meet at a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's what we mean by perpendicular. And for our college algebra purposes, perpendicular lines, when you multiply their slopes, you get 1. Actually, -1. -1. We think of these that the slopes are negative reciprocals. That's a big word to mean that if I have a line with a slope of 3, then its perpendicular line has a slope of -1/3. We take the reciprocal and we multiply it by -1. All right, so once we have the information that we need about a line from its parallel or perpendicular friend, we can plug into our initial point slope formula and find the equation of the line just like normal. Let's look at what an example looks like. All right, we want to find the equation of the line through the point 3, 2 that is parallel to the line 2x plus 3y equals 6. Now there's something really important here. I'm going to use the line I have to find the slope. And because I'm told that it is parallel, that means that my new line has the same slope as the line I've been given. Keep in mind, this point 3, 2 is not on the line we've been given. The only thing this line we've been given is good for is for finding the slope of our line. All right, so to find the slope of that line, we are going to solve for y. We'll put it in slope-intercept form, and then we'll just read the slope off of it. All right, so 2x plus 3y equals 6. That means 3y is 6 minus 2x. I'm going to divide by 3. And I get y equals 2 minus 2/3 x. Cool. From that, I know my slope is -2/3. Good information. When I combine it with the point that I have, I now can write the equation of this line. Now, once I've gotten the slope of the line I was given, I like to cross it out. That reminds me I don't need it anymore. I'm not going to be using it. Okay? So, we have a different problem. Now I want the equation of the line with the slope of -2/3 through the point 3/2. And we've worked problems like that before. So this would be y minus 2 is -2/3 x minus 3. I'll add 2 to both sides and distribute my negative 2/3. All right, so when I multiply negative 2/3 into the parentheses, I have a negative 2/3 x plus 2. Those 3's cancel, 2 negatives make a positive, and I'm just left with a 2. And then plus 2 from the other side that we added over. So this would be y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. And if I wanted to check to make sure that when I plugged in the 0.32, it worked, I could. When x is equal to 3, 3 and 3 will cancel. I have a negative 2 plus 4 gives me 2. Matches up. We did a good job. All right, let's look at another problem involving perpendicular. All right, we're going to find the equation of the line through negative 1, 5 that is perpendicular to y equals 2x plus 1. All right, again, I'm going to mark up my problem the same way I did over here. We're going to notice the word perpendicular means negative reciprocal slope from this line right here, the line y equals 2x plus 1. So y equals 2x plus 1, it has a slope of 2. If we wanted a line parallel to that one, we would use a slope of 2, but we don't. We want a perpendicular line. So the line perpendicular is going to have a slope of negative 1/2. So I took the 2, took the reciprocal to get 1/2, and multiplied by a negative. If I were to take the 2 slopes together and multiply them together, I'd have negative 1/2 times 2 gives me negative 1. All right, and then I have my point up here, my x1, y1, that I'm going to use. And again, I've used my line to get the slope of my new line, and I'm going to cross it off because I don't want to accidentally go back to it. We've used it as much as we need to. All right, let's use our point slope form. So y minus 5 is equal to negative 1/2 x minus a negative 1. I'm going to distribute this negative 1/2 to the right side. So y minus 5 is negative 1/2 x minus the negative 1 is a positive times negative 1/2 is just negative 1/2. I'll add 5 to both sides. So y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 5 minus 1/2. Let's work that out. So 5 minus 1/2. This would be the same as 10 halves minus 1/2, which is 9 halves. So when I rewrite that equation, I would have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 9 halves. And I would want to just visually check negative 1/2 and the 2. When we multiply those 2 slopes together, we get a negative 1, and that works because we wanted a perpendicular line. Okay? So any of these, any point and line, you can find the equation of a line parallel and perpendicular. Remember that if you have a line with a slope of 0, that is a horizontal line, and the line parallel to it would be another horizontal line, and the line perpendicular to it would be a vertical line. We don't often run into problems like that, but sometimes you do. All right, if you need more practice going over finding the equation of the line once you have the slope and the point, go back to the previous video that's entitled Point Slope Form of a Line.